cha, dvitiyam brahmacharini, tritiyam chandraganteti, kushmanteti chaturthakam, panchamam skandamateti, shastyam katyayaniti cha, saptamam kalaratriti, mahaguriti chastramam, navamam siddhidatri cha, navadurga prakirtita, uttanye tarinamani, paramanava mahatmanaha.
Good moment to you. Hello, I'm Hemalayaa. This is the Embody Freedom series. Welcome. Let's take in a deep breath in together. Whew, so many energies in the air, in our hearts, in the world, so much change happening, so much revolution happening. Taking a deep breath in, deep breath in, deep breath in. The intention here and the invitation here is to be in the breath with us. This is why we call this the Embody Freedom series. We're utilizing the breath to take us into the bodies and get us out of here and bring us into here. So breathing in here, deep breath in, exhale out of the mouth, inhale. This series is designed to ground us in a whole new embodiment of leadership, because fear and stress and anxiety and the world and chaos is going to throw us off our center again and again and again. Here we are. Here's the opportunity again and again and again is to come back into deep connection with ourselves. And this is what we do here. We bring on guests. We invite in guests that are transformational facilitators, leaders, thought leaders, speaking out right now and beyond, speaking out truth and wisdom and sharing how we can thrive right now in our health and our well-being and our embodiment of that truth that wants to be spoken out and shared and unite us. So breathe in here. Whew. As you're standing here, and the invitation is to stand, feel your feet on the earth. Open up the soles of the feet. We are going into an open, receptive mode in order to receive little pieces and nuggets today in this moment for you to spark answers alive. Put yourself online. Put your body, your being, your meridians, your channels online so you can receive higher truths. And breathe here. So we open up here with movement, with breath, reminding us who we truly are. So go into that space. Breathing in here. Jiggle out the body. Today we've got Bianca Alexander on the show, on the series here to share some divine wisdom. And Michael Alexander, her partner. And so jiggle out your body here. Can you let go of any debris in your being? Can you let go? Woo! So I know you are empaths in the house, healers, spiritual guides and teachers, yoga teachers. Whatever your healing gifts are, whatever you speak in the world, whatever you open up. Yes. Clear your channels. It is time to speak into that truth and call us forward. Call your brothers and sisters forward. It is time to unite. Breathe. Say yes. Say yes with your heart. Yes with your head. Yes with your cells. Yes to the truth of humanity. Breathe. Move your head from side to side. Unlock your neck. Ooh, this nice area here. See if you can open it up so you can speak that truth, receive that truth. Stretch out your mouth now. Unlock. Your jaw. Blubber your lips. Awesome. Coming into stillness. Feel your feet again. Straight in direct contact with Mother Earth, opening up the soles of the feet and feeling in that channel of plugged in connection. Breathe here. Whoo! can you take a pause right now to receive? Can you take a pause right now to receive those pieces that'll align you greatly, highly with the mind, with the truth? And so breathing here, taking a deep breath in. This time we're going to hold the breath. Take a deep breath in, deep breath in, deep breath in. Unlock your knees. Deep breath in, deep breath in. Vibrate a little bit. Vibrate, 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 vibrate. And exhale. Jiggle it out. Woo! Make a sound. Yes. So who are you? You let go of who you're not. All those energetic pieces that we hold on to, that we name, that we're this way, we're that way. Who are you? I have the privilege and honor of introducing you to two beautiful souls who have a great mission here, who are speaking some truths and bringing in light and love into the world. So, Bianca Alexander, who is a host, creative director. She is the host and creative director of Conscious Living. Bianca graduated from Princeton University with a BA in Spanish and French, and then the University of Virginia Law School, which primed her for a successful career as a Hollywood entertainment attorney at Paramount Motion Pictures. After stepping in front of the camera to host cable TV shows on Lifetime and TV One in 2006, Bianca combined her passion for media and social justice to launch Conscious Living with her husband and muse and partner, Michael. A few years later, she won an Emmy for her role as an outstanding on-camera correspondent on Conscious Living's original series, Soul of Green, a lifestyle news program about urban sustainability. Bianca is also an award-winning fellow of the U.S.-based Association of Healthcare Journalists. She's passionate. She's a wellness advocate. Bianca is a certified yoga instructor, second-degree Reiki master, eco-artist, and certified raw food and plant-based nutritionalist. From daily meditation and wearing ethical fashion to following a vegan diet and documenting healing travel around the world, she's committed to the lifelong journey of mindful living. In addition to her work on conscious living, Bianca has contributed to Huffington Post and Rewire Me and Spirituality and Health magazine. She is here with her husband, so I get to introduce you to her husband, Michael Alexander, who is the executive producer and host. He is, for the last 20 years, served as a passionate advocate for healthy and sustainable mindful living. He's a Phi Beta Kappa graduate in economics from the University of California, Davis. Michael is an award-winning health journalist, a certified plant-based nutritionalist, and co-author of the Conscious Living 10-Day Detox. Michael is a lifelong foodie and certified raw vegan chef and yogi. He teaches plant-based cooking, detox, and nutrition classes around the world, including for employees of the U.S. government. As an executive producer for the Conscious Living show, Michael has overseen the show's journey from a digital web series to a global broadcast television platform. He has also served as principal photographer, editor, international distributor for over 300 episodes of Conscious Living, bringing stories of health and wellness and practical spirituality to the hearts and minds across the world. Inspired by the great all religions, including Paramahansa Yogananda, Michael has been practicing yoga for the last 18 years, playing in the dirt as an OG organic farmer, and is committed to walking the yogic path of self-realization. I have so much respect for these two, and welcome, Michael and Bianca.
Hi. Thank you so much for having us. It's good to see you.
Good to have you here, my dear loves. Where in the world are you? Where
we are in Los Angeles, the hills of Los Angeles, California. Sunny California. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Oh my gosh. Good to have you here both at this incredible time in history that is occurring. of conscious, bringing in these yogic truths into the world in the way that you're doing it, which I really honor you for. Thank you. So what is it that you're feeling right now that this time is showing us?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for having me on the show and having us on the show. It's such an honor to just be able to have a space to share our voices. And I think that's a big sort of feeling as an empath and a healer and a person on my own healing journey, in the challenges of marriage, it brings up so much sort of self-work. And right now, what I'm really present to is the fact that I myself can't breathe. The world can't breathe. George Floyd couldn't breathe. And it's interesting, I've had some health challenges over the past couple of years since moving back to LA, smog, whatever. The past 3 days, I've had a very acute case of asthma. And was something that was never a big problem for me. And now, I carry my inhaler. I'm a naturopath, right? I'm walking around with an inhaler because I can't breathe. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Michael on, in addition to the fact that our journey has been so much the journey of being able to transcend race and to heal from the divides of race. But also, if I get a little tired and I run out of breath, he can do the talking for me.
Yeah, you'll have a little relay.
Yeah, a little relay. So I think the main thing I'm feeling right now is just the feeling of not being able to breathe, feeling a little suffocated by all of the violence, by all of the emotions, by the rage. And really, it's a function of all of the emotions, all the feelings, all of the injustices for 400 plus years of slavery and oppression, and not just of African Americans, the Native Americans, the indigenous people, all Black, brown people, all people that has been suppressed and pushed down for eons and eons. And now, for whatever reason, why now in the middle of a pandemic, right? Everything is beginning to bubble up to the surface, and it's a lot. And I think that's why I feel like I can't breathe. So,
yeah.
I would just say for me, I'm just feeling profoundly sad right now. There's just so much grief in the world. And, it's a lot. There's a lot of energy happening right now. And there's a lot of sadness and there's a lot of grief that we're all holding. So that's where I'm at.
Well, I so appreciate you both, with, what you represent, the union of and the healing, within your own divine beloved union. And, there's been so much talk about white privilege. Like, what can we speak into that? Like what your experience is, what you're with white privilege.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny just hearing you say that and you asking the question and us having this conversation right now is such a revolutionary act. But that's what I feel, after so many years of feeling from the time that I was, 3 years old was the first time that I heard the N-word. I was playing with one of my best friends at the time. I didn't even know anything about race. It didn't mean anything to me. And she was having a birthday party, a pool party. And I was so excited. My first little birthday party at 3 years old. And she'd given me an invitation. We took it home. My mom filled it out, sent it back. And a couple of weeks later, she came back to school and said, "Oh, hey, BB," that was my nickname at the time. "I'm so sorry," very innocently, "you can't come to my pool party because my daddy doesn't want any niggers in his pool." And I was like, "He doesn't want niggers in his pool." Perplexing. Had no idea what the word meant. And that for me was sort of the beginning of my relationship to white privilege, this sense of feeling like no matter how talented, how articulate, how loving, how beautiful, how educated, there's always this sort of othering, this sort of marginalization that I would never sort of be able to, an obstacle I could never sort of overcome. And, it's been painful. And I think because there hasn't been a space for conversation, these are things that we just carry. We carry this racial pain body because you think nobody cares. This is just the way life is. Doesn't matter who I am. When people see me, they just see a Black person or an N-word, right? And it's like, how do you overcome that? And at a certain point, you have to just be yourself. And, I eventually stopped relaxing my hair and wearing color contacts and doing all these things and just embracing this is who I am, love it or leave it. But it took many years as a journey of just self-love and self-acceptance, being a Black woman in America, living in a white world. it's there's a lot there. There's a huge pain body, and just not my generation, but I think my parents' generation, who, you know, grew up in the Jim Crow South and drank out of black water fountains and had to sit in, you know, the rafters of the theaters because they couldn't sit in the white section. And when they took trips to, you know, summer vacations, they had to basically take all their food with them, like fry their chicken and take it in a basket, because they couldn't stop along the road driving cross country because you might get hung, you know. You got to go to the bathroom on the side of the road because you can't go to the white. I mean, so that sort of pain body, I think, is, I think, the function or maybe a symptom of white privilege for me.
And I would say, you know, for me, like this whole concept, you know, we've been together for 18 years. So this has been an ongoing conversation. And, you know, part of what white privilege is, you know, I fought for 2 years the idea that I was racist. I grew up in San Francisco. I was picked on as a little kid because I was white in majority color schools. You know, I had lots of black credentials, if you will. I was a first generation hip hop head. My roommate and best friend was black, you know. So we spent 2 years fighting about the fact that I was racist. And then we watched Roots together, which is an incredible film. And I watched it from the perspective of, this is going to be my children. My children will be black children. And we cried a lot. And what I came to realize is that I am racist. And I'm racist because I'm an American.
Right.
And in the very DNA of this country is racism. This country was built on the backs of slavery. Mm-hmm. All the northern businesses were profiteering, shipbuilders and insurance companies were profiteering from it. Our entire country was built by literally eradicating the American Indians, and by taking their land and killing them off and lying to them. And we continue to do it today. So this is the DNA. This is the seed level of this country. America is great, but it's also got some major issues. And the fruit is what we're seeing now. And so white privilege is really, we all have it, and we don't need to be ashamed of it. We can embrace and understand that, hey, this is the water I grew up in. And I will say this, like, I'm just so grateful. Like, I've had my ass kicked by her for 18 years around this issue. You know,
I'm an attorney, don't forget, you know.
Yeah.
Not physically, of course, right?
Strong enough.
No,
verbally though.
Yes. But
verbally and spiritually, probably with the Kali energy. Whew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know, and so as part of that, it's like I've had to realize, you know, how many times has she checked me on that was racist or that was misogynist?
Right.
How many times has she checked me on that, and I've checked her on the white man this and the white man that. And so
I'm racist
right.
too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's just a white thing. It's a black thing too.
It's not. And I think, you know, part of white privilege is like, I can't tell you how many times people have told me I don't see color.
Yeah.
That's your privilege as a white person. I've never, ever met a black person or brown person who said, I don't see color.
Beautiful.
It is only white people who say that because it's your privilege not to see it because the world works for us.
Right.
And that's the opportunity is for, I think white privilege is the opportunity to open up, to embrace it's our birthright. Mm. And in that space, begin to get curious. Mm-hmm. You know, I have a friend I talked to yesterday. She's an incredible medical doctor. She's an OBGYN. She runs the whole OBGYN, center of a well-known hospital here in Los Angeles. And she was talking about this, and she said, you know, we have curfews now in LA. And a couple of days ago, she was out. She was in, you know, she lives in a nice neighborhood in like Toluca Lake in Studio City in LA, like liberal LA. And she was, you know, and she got the text that the curfew was coming, and she was like hustling to get home. And she saw out of the corner of her eye a group of white people sitting, enjoying and taking the time. They were sitting outside. They were twirling their spaghetti, and they had the luxury of taking their time, even though they knew that the curfew was going to be up, to enjoy that meal outside, even though they knew the curfew was going to be up. And she was hustling home because she knew if the cops came to her, there was a chance that she would get a beat down. There is a chance. It doesn't matter that she's a medical doctor. It doesn't matter the degrees, that we are conditioned as white people and as a police force and as the systemic racism that is part of the DNA of this country to see color. And they would have beat her down.
Right.
Or at least created very difficult. That's white privilege, the privilege to take your time and know when the cops see you, even though you're over, that they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. Right. So here's the question right now. What are white people to do also to like right now? And as we go forward, what are white people to do?
Yeah. I mean, thank you for asking that question. I mean, when I think about white privilege, I think about Amy Cooper, in Central Park, and sort of, whether she's a racist or not, like Michael said, it's like we're all fish swimming in the same water. We don't even realize we're swimming in the water.
Yeah.
Where the minute that there's a conflict, she draws upon the racial pain body and says, I know I don't have a right to be here walking my dog because it's the bird watcher's park.
Off his leash.
A dog off his leash. But I want to do what I want to do because it's my privilege to do that. And if you check me, if you contradict me, if you show me something that isn't true about myself, I could ruin your life. I would call the cops and I'm going to say, a black man is here and he's threatening me. And that's all she has to say. And that's all she has to say to him, because he knows, we all know what's going to happen next. It's been happening since the Jim Crow days. A black man could look at a white woman the wrong way. He's lynched, he's lynched or, gets his balls cut off and all these other things that they were doing. Excuse me for my, graphic words, but that pain body is a part of what we're all drawing on to say, as human beings, I have a right to sort of be beyond reproach. And I think that's a human thing. It's not so much a white thing. So it's like, I look at sort of me and just as a yogi, the spiritual path I'm on, like as a soul, why did I choose to be born in America as a black woman to minorities? Like, what is it that my soul needed to learn about racism, about sexism, about loving myself despite sort of all the pressures to not sort of be who I'm here to be? And that has been for me so healing. And so I think for white people, that's something for me I've had to do since I was 3 years old, right? Yeah. For white people, the privilege to not have to look at yourself, to take responsibility for yourself, to take responsibility for what role you might be playing in this collective pain body. You didn't have to be a slave owner, but you're a beneficiary, right?
Yeah.
The ability to walk through. Michael and I, one of the first dates we went to Malibu. We had a container, just, regular canteen of like our whatever picnic stuff. And there were like, I don't know, 100 people on the beach.
No, there was like 500 people on the beach.
This is Malibu,
and for whatever
California,
reason,
the liberal state.
Whatever reason, I saw when the cops came on the beach. I saw them and I watched them the entire time. And I saw them when they left the beach. And there was one bag that they checked on the entire beach in 30 minutes. One single bag. And that belonged to the one single black person on that beach. And that was her.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is how
looking
it works.
for drugs, which wasn't there.
Right. Yeah. But if I was just white people, I don't see it. It doesn't happen. It doesn't. It's not that much. I think that's the opportunity for to answer your question. Like, what can white people do? We can get curious.
Yes.
Get curious and actually, instead of defending, because whatever you resist persists.
That's it.
Embrace that you're racist. Embrace that you have white privilege. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're bad.
Right.
It means you're an American.
There's no judgment.
Embrace it and get curious and say, hey, black person I knew 10 years ago. Hey, black person that's in my, hey, Mexican person that does my lawn. What's up? What's life like for you right now? What is it like for you to be an immigrant in this country and to not speak the language as a first language? Can you tell me about an instance where you had a racist experience? Yes. Can you tell me about that? Have you ever felt that from me?
Yeah, that's what we can do is stop resisting it and cop it. Own that we're racist. Own that and it's okay. Own that we have white privilege and get curious and start asking questions. And those people that you say, some of my best friends are black. When was the last time you had them to dinner? At your house. with your parents.
When was the last time you had them over?
Right?
Like, open your circle up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I think it comes down to the humility, and this is, the spiritual path. Like, at the end of the day, white, black, changing the laws, who our president is, killing off the whole police force. None of that is going to solve the problem.
Yes.
Because the problem comes from within our own consciousness. The problem comes from within our own souls. It's a human condition, right? Yeah. How many lifetimes was I an oppressive white male?
Yes.
Down black people.
Right.
But I'm so present to that. I'm like, oh, now I see what it's like on the other side.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like black versus white. It's like we're all one. First of all, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So it's like, when this life is over, I'm going to shed this costume and go on to be something else. So we're not black or white anyway, but we are born in these bodies so that we can learn whatever lessons karmically we need to learn so we can liberate and ascend to divine union. That's the ultimate goal. And so that frees me to say, okay, whatever's up in my movie, I have to take a look at the mirror that's being presented to me as a lesson for growth, and getting curious and being humble and saying, how am I a part of the problem? And that's something white people need to do. And that's something black people need to do.
Yeah. It's really something, what I'm hearing from both of you is that all of us get to get really curious about all cultures and look at ourselves, look at the places where we are judging, discriminating, creating separation, and ask the questions. That is what I'm hearing is like, that is the pathway to coming into union, because we're not going to come into union pretending that colors don't exist.
Yes.
That is not true.
That's
right.
That's right.
And that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage, particularly, it's like mental illness, up until a few years recently, it's a taboo topic where it's like, you don't want to talk about race, and saying that you're colorblind is like a way to be like, I'm so above it, I've transcended and I don't see color. It's like, okay, well, that's convenient for you to say. And we can sort of put on our spiritual ego and bring out our mala beads and be like, I'm just so above it. And at the truth is, it's like, as soon as you walk out that street, as soon as he and I walk out that street together, the world treats us differently. Absolutely. It doesn't matter how many hours I meditate, right? So it's like, okay, what the opportunity is for me is who I'm going to be in response to that. Who do I choose to be? And that has to happen on the inside. And that's much harder than going out and breaking down windows and, hitting cops on the head with bricks and that sort of thing, right? Which is, it gives you a nice sort of, you get your anger out, you get your aggression out, but what's actually moving forward? Right. And then I have to come back to the Eightfold Path as yogis, right? The very first principle in the Eightfold Path, ahimsa, nonviolence. Mahatma Gandhi, nonviolence. Martin Luther King, nonviolence, right? This is the key. This is the key to change hearts. And that nonviolence has to start within. And for us, one of the most important ways, in addition to, the work we're doing with conscious living, which you can watch on Amazon Prime, is the meditation practice and the yoga practice, to really take time every day to be still and to look within and to connect to that part of ourselves that's beyond, my skin color or my hair texture or whether I'm married to a white man. We are infinite, eternal beings. Mm-hmm. We're so much more than these costumes we're wearing this lifetime. So let's get to know that. And then from that place, we can connect to that divine consciousness that's in everyone, and we'll naturally sort of feel a sense of brotherhood and unity.
Well, you
just that's harder than going out and like bashing windows, right? It's not as easy to sit with yourself, right? That's the hardest journey of all.
Right. And you just answered, and you can elaborate on this, is like, what are the next steps? What are the next steps to change? I know you're speaking into that, is like, know that we're not this body. We are this soul that came here to experience what we've experienced, ask the questions. What else? What are some processes? What are the processes we can implement to create change?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Yogananda talked about this, who's our guru, Paramahansa Yogananda. He said, the real yogi, the real spiritual warrior is in the world. It doesn't take a lot of work to just meditate all the time and just be in some mountain. Like, we're here in it at this time to do the work and love fiercely. Christ says the two number one rules: love God with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor, especially if they're gay and you're not, especially if they're brown and you're white, especially if they're entitled white people and you're a brown person, especially if they don't like you. Yeah. Love so fiercely and allow yourself to dive into that. Allow yourself to break and shatter on this plane so that the love of God, the divine mother, can come in and know that we are love. We are the embodiment of love. And someone may turn down that love. Someone may turn down that smile. Someone may turn down that offer to have a cup of coffee with me, but I'm still loved. Mm-hmm. And so to love fiercely and to step into that call to action by the great yogi Christ and say, hey, amen. Love them especially when it's hard. I think that's for me what I feel in this time. And it's hard. It's hard. I have a lot of anger. I'm so angry right now. I'm so sad right now. Mm-hmm. And all I can do is just lay it at the feet of Divine Mother and go back to meditate and go back on the mat, even if my mind is racing crazy for all of it, and talk and journal and talk to her and pick up the phone and try to listen to people of color, trying to ask questions and get curious.
I love that. And, what I'm hearing is to really stand in love, like be that in every conversation that we're having, everything that we're putting out there, stand in that, because what goes on in the world as it is right now is wanting to divide, wanting to separate us. So if we can stand in that knowing, that beingness of who we truly are, then we can, not transcend, but filter into the hearts of everyone. Yeah, it's it is the truth. So if we are being that fiercely, because the fire is it's causing us to have all these emotions, and the empaths, just like yourself, it's we're being affected and knocked down. So if we can still even stand in love in that. So yeah, this is beautiful. What a conversation. We got to wrap up a little bit. Any last words or any last offerings that you'd love to share with us, please do.
Thank you so much. I'm just grateful for just this space. It's been so cathartic to express here with you and all of you out there. I see the comments. Thank you for the love. Thank you, both of you, for facilitating. Just being held in this space, particularly when we're all quarantined, on top of everything else, to have this extra division, it just can feel so isolating and alienating. So I'm just so grateful to be here with you all and to feel so supported and seen and heard. And, to know that Black voices do matter, that people do want to hear, that they do care. I just feel so supported and loved in a way that I haven't before. And it's interesting that it took this crisis for me to feel that way and to really start opening up and talking about things that before I was just kind of hesitant to talk about. So just gratitude. But I'd also love to, maybe Michael, you can read. This is a poem, a prayer from our path about the power of humility to transcend all difficulty. And this is, I think, the prayer that we want to leave with you all, that we're working on as well.
So maybe we can all just close our eyes and just allow this this gift of humility to land in our hearts. So this is a poem by Canon T.T. Carter, and the great saint Sri Dayamata had this up on her wall for many decades. Humility is perpetual quietness of heart. It is to have no trouble. It is to never be fretted or vexed or irritated or sore or disappointed. It is to expect nothing, to wonder at nothing that is done to me, to feel nothing done against me. It is to be at rest when nobody praises me and when I am blamed and despised. It is to have a blessed home in myself, where I can go in and shut the door and kneel to my Father in secret and be at peace as in a deep sea of calmness, when all around and above is trouble.
Breathing that in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So everyone receiving and taking in a deep breath in and blasting our beautiful, beloved Bianca and Michael Alexander for all the beautiful work that you're doing in the world, for you being who you are, incarnating in this lifetime, and the beautiful bodies that you have been incarnated into to play a special role. So thank you. And so all of you out there, let's blast our beloveds with so much gratitude for their leadership and their speaking up and their truth today and as they walk forward from here. You can find them at consciouslivingtv.com or on Instagram at consciouslivingtv, and they have their show that's on Amazon Prime. So check them out as the beacons of light and power and truth that you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Much love to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Blessings to you all. Be safe out there, guys. One love.
So the question is, how are you going to step up into leadership, right? Like this is what's possible. This is what inspires me, is souls like Bianca and Michael and DTO and others who are stepping up to not wait any longer. You are healers. You are beacons of light. You are light leaders. Not light workers anymore. We're light leaders. So the question is, how are you going to stand up in the world and speak and teach and lead and guide? Again, there's no more time. The time is now. If you didn't get that at the beginning of the quarantine, get that now. The world needs you. The world needs more empaths and spiritual beings that have a direct channel and connection to the divine. So how are you going to step up into your leadership? And it is no coincidence that this week we are stepping as a collective. This week we begin the Embodied Leadership Mastermind. And this is for you light leaders who want to step, who are ready to, who have been waiting to step into the world with your gifts, creating your way to serve. And DTO and I are both leaders in this program. DTO leads the digital marketing side. So you're, branding, I don't like calling it branding, but you really being seen in the world and being heard, and then your people finding you. So this is what this is about. And my work here is to create openings through transformational processes, embodiment work, in order for us to be in our bodies and be the light workers and speak it clearly. And you creating your own shows and leading the way that you are called to. That means that you've had a vision or two or three. And so we get to dial that in and move you forward. So if you have a calling, get in connection with us. Go to the Embodied Leadership page, which is Hemalayaa.com and /Embodied Leadership, and apply, and we'll jump on the phone if it feels like it's in alignment. And I wanted to take another deep breath in, and here we are, closing up here for the day. Inhale and exhale out of the mouth. Let go of the jaw. Coming home to your true self. My prayer is that you did receive a lot today, a lot of shifts and openings and realizations into the curiosity. I love that. That's one of my favorite words, and I love Michael for bringing it up today. Curiosity. Can you be curious with the people in your life, the connections that you have and that you're going to make here and now? Can you be curious? All right, another deep breath in. Blasting you off. Thank you for joining us in the Embodied Freedom series, and we will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, 9 a.m. Pacific Coast time, 12 p.m. East Coast time. Woo! Until we're not. All right, so keep on joining us until we're here. So much love and light. Namaste.